Three things are guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and Epic Games vaulting Fortnite weapons. So many weapons have come and gone in the vault, and only a few have ever returned to the Battle Royale because typically, if a weapon goes to the vault, it's done for. That being said, we here at CBR haven't forgotten about those vaulted weapons. There are plenty of items we'd love to see come back into Fortnite, so let's get into it. If we told you guys that we missed the LMG, that would be a huge understatement. We still cry sometimes just thinking about the weapon. When it was in the game, players either loved it or they hated it. Like LazarBeam, we loved the weapon, but we know a lot of players didn't. Fans of the LMG couldn't stop talking about its large mag, high rate of fire, and solid damage. This thing absolutely shredded anyone and anything at close range. The only thing better than it at close range was a pump shotgun. It was such a noob-friendly weapon, which is exactly why we loved it so much. Those who hated the weapon disliked it due to its high recoil, ridiculous muzzle flash, and sound. When you fired the weapon, all you saw was the muzzle flash from your bullets. It shot fast and had so many bullets that it literally looked like fire was coming out of it. It even had really bad bloom, which means that bullets would randomly go off in slightly different directions at a really high rate, meaning you couldn't hit the side of a barn with it. It got vaulted in patch 6.0, but we hope it comes back soon. The rarest weapon in all of Fortnite had to have been the Zapper Tron. You see, the Zapper Tron was a weapon introduced all the way back in patch 1.63, before Season 1 even started. And players like Ionix TV were very lucky to get a hold of the weapon. It was capable of firing electric blasts in short bursts, dealing an enormous amount of damage. It came with a scarce amount of cell ammo and was only available in supply drops, meaning it would never be found on the floor or in chests. The weapon was incredibly OP because you just had to aim in someone's general direction to hit them. Each shot dealt 150 damage instantly, meaning it would eliminate players in one shot unless they had more than 50 shield. Just as quickly as the weapon was added to the game, it was removed in patch 1.64, which literally came out a week or two later. Epic Games said the Zapper Tron didn't fit into the current game and harmed the balance of the Battle Royale. While we agree completely, we feel like it could be brought back with some changes. If they change the damage from 150 to 100 or even 95, we think that would be fair. When we lost the drum gun in patch 5.40, we were devastated. It was like we lost the love of our lives, our one true soulmate. We were absolutely obsessed with this weapon, just like Vicstar123, because it was so strong and wasn't rare at all. It was either uncommon or rare, so it was very easy to find as floor loot or in chests. It even had the whole 50s Tommy gun look going on with the drum mag, making it both look and sound awesome. Heck, you were able to dominate the game just by using this one weapon. While the gun was deservedly vaulted because it was too OP for such a common weapon, we think it's time to bring it back. It was deadly accurate up to mid-range, capable of doing more DPS than an SMG, and had a whole 50 bullets in a magazine, so why not just reduce the rate of fire a bit and then increase the recoil? That way, it won't be the gun of choice at close to mid-range anymore. If that's not enough, Epic Games could even just make the gun more rare. Whatever the case may be, we just want our drum gun back. The Burst AR was a staple of Fortnite since it was introduced all the way back in patch 1.6. Just in case you didn't know, patch 1.6 was the one that introduced us to Fortnite Battle Royale in the first place. So players like Lachlan have literally been using the Burst AR since day one. Now, we only got the epic and legendary variants of the weapon in patch 4.2, but the Burst AR has been around since the beginning. When patch 7.3 came along, and we lost all of our beloved Burst ARs, we knew we had to keep some tissues close by because we were going to be getting into it. Our feelings, we mean. Sure, the Burst AR was worse than the regular full auto AR in pretty much every category, which is why Epic Games vaulted them in the first place, but we still miss them, especially the legendary variant. If they're brought back, they'll need to be very accurate. The rate of fire could stay the same, but those 3 rounds need to all hit the same spot for it to become more viable. For now, the Burst AR will stay in the vault, and we'll just keep waiting for it to come back. When the double barrel shotgun was introduced back in patch 5.2, players instantly hated the weapon. Everyone was whining about how OP the double barrel shotgun was, and as you can see in this clip by Musel, it really was. If you connected with each of your 2 shots at close range, your opponent was done for. It was as simple as that. It later got nerfed with the Season 6 patch, but it was still the most OP close-range gun in the game at the time. Now, the damage went down, which also affected the range of the weapon, but again, if you connected on both of your shots, your opponent would be down for the count before they even knew what hit them. This gun was the king of close-range combat until it was put in the vault in patch 7.0. This gun needs a very simple fix. All Epic Games needs to do is reduce the range of the weapon, increase the amount of time it takes to fire that second shot, and reduce the damage to make it equal to the pump shotgun. This will make the double barrel shotgun a beast at extreme close range, and then that's about it. Just like the Burst AR, the Bolt Action Sniper was introduced in patch 1.6, and as Muselk shows us, it was the most powerful weapon in the entire game for a long time. A headshot with any variant of the weapon would instantly take out any opponent, even if they had max health and shield, which sounds about right for a sniper that holds only one bullet in a mag and has a very slow reload. In patch 7.3, Epic Games finally pulled the plug on the Bolt Action Sniper because there was simply too many snipers in the game, so one had to go. It was really sad to see the Bolt Action Sniper get vaulted. While we've had our fair share of fails using the weapon, we've hit some pretty ridiculous shots with it too. Hey, we're being serious, we actually did have some highlight reel moments. What grinds our gear the most is that the Bolt Action Sniper died for an infantry rifle. An infantry rifle! Why not get rid of the hunting rifle then? All Epic needs to do is add the Bolt Action Sniper and make it rare with no other variants. Then it'll fit right in with the other snipers. There are way too many SMGs in the vault, and we don't get it. The only SMGs we have in the game right now are the Suppressed SMG and the Compact SMG, so why only two? Why don't we have Unsuppressed Common, Uncommon, and then Rare variants? It just doesn't make sense. Anyway, we'd like the Tactical SMG to make a return to Fortnite, despite being in the vault since patch 5.0. That's the one that looks like a Tech 9 machine pistol with a barrel shroud? Yeah, that one. Well, we don't really care what the SMG looks like, we just want one with the same stats back in the game. Just in case you don't know how good the weapon is, iBallistic Squid did an SMG only challenge and earned a victory royale. The Tactical SMG has the highest DPS out of all the vaulted SMGs, and it was very easy to use. It did the same amount of damage per shot as the regular newest SMG that got vaulted, shot faster, and even had 5 more bullets in the mag. It didn't look great, but it got the job done. Also, we'd love to be able to use the shotgun and SMG combo again. Give us what we want, Epic. Here at CBR, we were actually huge fans of the Crossbow. We know we're probably the only ones in the entire world, but we loved it. It was removed in patch 4.0, which introduced Season 4 and can only be used in Playground mode nowadays. Lame. This weapon was completely silent and had unlimited ammo. Sure, it could only hold one arrow at a time, and you could probably pitch a tent in the amount of time it takes to reload, but as Dr. Lupo shows us, it was a really strong stealth weapon, which was a very fun style to play. It was just as powerful as a semi-auto sniper rifle, which also got vaulted later, so it had some decent power. Besides us and Dr. Lupo, we're willing to bet that no one else used the Crossbow, other than for that weekly challenge during Season 3 that was really annoying. Yeah, that challenge still gives us nightmares today. No one was using the Crossbow, which is why it got vaulted, but if it returns to the game, Epic Games should give us a reason to use it. Make it do more damage, make it reload quickly, do whatever you can to give us our boy back, Epic! Red Dead Redemption 2 took the gaming world by storm in late October 2018, so Fortnite got in on the whole cowboy craze with the 6-shooter pistol. Introduced in patch 6.2, the 6-shooter had a great style to it, and if you fired it from the hip, you were able to get shots off quickly, just like Acidic Blitz. You could aim with it, but we wouldn't suggest it because it would lower the fire rate of the weapon significantly. The thing is, it wasn't very accurate from the hip anyway, so it was still heavily outclassed by shotguns at close range. Not only was it inaccurate at close range, but it was also the weakest thing that we've ever used. We were happy when this pea shooter got vaulted in patch 7.1, but we kinda miss it. So many pistols have come and gone in Fortnite, but none of them were as original as the 6-shooter. If Epic Games would increase its accuracy from the hip and its overall damage stats, it could definitely have a use in the game and could be a great close-range support weapon to a shotgun, but we doubt it's ever going to be back in the game. The quad launcher sounds absolutely ridiculous on paper, and it definitely lived up to the hype, that's for sure. It was a great weapon in Save the World, and it was just as good in the Battle Royale. Introduced in patch 6.02, the quad launcher didn't even last 2 seasons before it was vaulted in patch 7.2. While it didn't have a storied history in the Battle Royale, it certainly left its mark. As T Martin 2 shows us, the weapon excelled at taking down structures quickly and could absolutely decimate opponents by firing plenty of rockets in quick succession. Its only downside was that it had a ridiculously long reload time, but other than that, the versatility of the weapon made it super OP and a game changer on the battlefield. We weren't surprised when Epic Games vaulted the weapon, but we're very surprised that it hasn't returned. We figured that it would get the guided missile treatment, but instead, it seems like Epic has already given up on the weapon. Sure, it was OP, but all Epic Games had to do is reduce the damage of all the rockets, which would make it more useful for taking out structures than anything else. They wouldn't have to change much. The guided missile is quite the controversial weapon since it's been constantly in and out of Fortnite. When it was initially added in patch 3.4, it was a ridiculously overpowered weapon, 10 times stronger than it is in this clip by Hollow. Not only could it scout out the area, but it stayed in the air forever and dealt some massive damage if it hit your opponents dead on. It was hands down the most overpowered weapon in the game, which is why it was nearly immediately vaulted in patch 3.5. There's no denying that's the reason it got vaulted. Epic even said it themselves. While the guided missile remained in the vault for nearly 2 seasons, it returned in patch 5.1 as a completely new, terrible weapon. It was completely nerfed and became more of a scouting weapon than anything, which is the way it should have been since day one. Then, since it was such a weak, rare weapon, it was patched again. We still think the guided missile is a neat idea. It just needs a very slight damage buff, and it needs to be a bit less rare for it to have a place in the current meta though. The Grappler was another concept that just didn't translate well into Fortnite Battle Royale. It was added in patch 5.4 to improve player mobility, and it did just that. In fact, it was actually too good at that. Players like Blink were able to fly around the map and then rotate super quickly with the Grappler, so when it was initially vaulted, we understood completely. There were so many vehicles in Fortnite that they didn't need players to have even more mobility. It was a bit overkill and completely unnecessary, which made sense, but now in Season 8, every vehicle has been vaulted except for the Quad Crasher, so what gives? The Grappler could easily come right back into the game and be very useful immediately since it's a bit more difficult to get around the map in Season 8. It's never been difficult to get around the map, but after being used to vehicles for so long, it just feels like it is. The thing is, grappling is Pathfinder from Apex Legends thing, so it'd be like they're copying something from Respawn's popular Battle Royale title if they bring it back. It would also be the third thing they copied from the game, but that's a video for another time. Introduced in patch 3.3, remote explosives, better known as C4, found their way into Fortnite after fans were talking about the idea for quite some time. Like every new item that got introduced in the game, people thought C4 was going to be the most OP throwable of all time, capable of changing the game for the worse. But as you can see in this clip by Postbox Pat, that wasn't the case. Initially, Epic Games decided to make the blast radius quite small to balance the weapon, which made the remote explosives useful to surprise enemies. If you knew they were behind a wall, just blow it up with C4. Clearly, it had its uses, and when it got buffed in patch 4.3, it started being used as a weapon, with players just throwing it around and getting kills. It then got nerfed in patch 5.1 before getting vaulted in patch 6.0, but we think it could really have a place in the current Fortnite meta. We really do. As long as Epic Games keeps the damage of the remote explosives higher than what it was in patch 3.3 and lower than what it was in patch 4.3, it should be fine. We wanted to include the impulse grenade, but Epic Games put them back into Fortnite before we could even mention them. They must be psychic or something. Instead, let's talk about the Shockwave grenade. When this grenade was introduced in patch 5.3, we were just as confused as Allier. They were rarer than impulse grenades, but didn't make you or your opponents take fall damage. We were just left asking why. Sure, you could use them to get around the map quicker, but the main difference between them and then impulse grenades are that they can't be used to troll. You can't throw them at your teammates to launch them off a cliff to their doom. Well, you could still use them to launch your teammates across the map, but they can't take damage, so the trolling isn't nearly as fun. The Shockwave grenade has been in the vault since patch 7.0, and we'd love to see it come back, but with a major change. If it allows your opponents to take fall damage, but not you or your teammates, then it would be perfect in the current meta. It needs to have some offensive capabilities, or else it should just stay in the vault. The final weapon we'd love to see return to Fortnite is the grenade. We never thought we'd ever have to say goodbye to these guys because grenades are a staple of every shooter and Battle Royale that we've ever played. But in patch 7.4, we finally said our goodbyes to one of the weapons that's been in the game since day one. We can no longer do grenade-only challenges like Vicstar 123. Not that we ever did anyway. Now, the common complaint about the grenades was that they were very spammy and you were able to stack 10 of them. Yes, that's right, 10 of them. But at the end of the day, they're grenades. One does not simply remove grenades from a shooter. Sure, we have clingers again, and those sticky grenades are very fun to use, but they're not the OG grenades. Maybe we are grenade elitists here at CBR, but we just think it's wrong to have removed grenades from Fortnite. If the community thinks they're too spammy, all Epic Games had to do is reduce the maximum stack size from 10 to 5, but instead they vaulted the weapon. We hope it comes back, because reducing the max stack size would definitely solve the spam problem. And those were just some of the vaulted Fortnite weapons that we'd love to see return as soon as possible. Do you agree with our list? Are there any weapons that we may have missed? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to CBR for more Fortnite videos. Thanks for watching.